So John Brennan is the top counterterrorism advisor to President Obama. He's been involved in a lot of questionable things, including being in the CIA when they were torturing people. Now, I've told you before, he said, what, me? I wasn't doing the torture. I mean, I even whispered to some friend that I didn't like the torture as I continued to approve it. Wow, okay. So these hearings are all about not CIA, but CYA, cover your ass, right? That's what John Brennan's doing. And it was one lie after another after another. And by the way, you know, we often talk about drones, and they talked about drones in the hearings because he's one of the guys who authorizes the drone strikes. We also just found out, by the way, that we had a secret drone base in Saudi Arabia. Now, let me quote the Washington Post here. John Brennan, who previously served as a CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia, played a key role in negotiations with Riyadh over locating an agency drone base inside the kingdom. In other words, that drone base in Saudi Arabia that we've been using that's gotten us in all this trouble, that was brought to us by our friend John Brennan. So Obama loves this guy. He's the guy who's done all his dirty work for him, so he wants to put him at the CIA. Now, we go to the hearings. Let me skip ahead to video 11 here. He's going to be asked about drones, I believe by Senator Chambliss. Let's see what his response is.
I never believe it's better to kill a terrorist than to detain him. We want to detain as many terrorists as possible so we can elicit the intelligence from them in an appropriate manner so that we can disrupt follow-on terrorist attacks. We've been very disciplined, very judicious, and we only use these authorities and these capabilities as a last resort.
Hundreds of civilians killed, including over 200 kids in these drone attacks. Oh, very judicious. Oh, my God. My God, He also said that he agonizes over every decision. He's like, oh, did I just press that button 4 times? Oh, I'm in agony. I'm in agony. Not as much agony as the wedding you bombed. Not as much agony as the family of those over 200 kids who were killed by drone strikes. As this, and he says, oh, I'd like to detain them. Really? How come you've detained almost none of them, but you've killed hundreds and thousands? Now, look, some of them were actually Al-Qaeda militants. Some of them were civilians. But we weren't trying to detain any of them. We got 1 or 2 guys. I remember one guy we got in Somalia, and I was in favor of that operation. I thought it was a bold operation. We went down on the ground, we got him, and we brought him back, and we got intelligence from him. That's how you do it. That was strong, okay? But just pushing the button isn't strong, and that's what Brennan's been doing all day. This hearing was nothing but lies. They go to the issue of enhanced interrogations and his knowledge of it at the CIA. This is what he says on that.
I did not take steps to stop the CIA's use of those techniques. I was not in the chain of command of that program. I served as deputy executive director at the time. I had responsibility for overseeing the management of the agency and all of its various functions, and I was aware of the program. I was CC'd on some of those documents, but I had no oversight of it. I wasn't involved in its creation.
Yeah, I know. Everybody at the CIA at the time had nothing to do with that program. Oh, it wasn't me, it was him. It wasn't me, it was him. I want to be the head of the CYA, right? That's what he's been doing this whole time. I don't believe a word John Brennan says. How about, okay, fine. You claim that you whispered to some people that you didn't love the program, although there's absolutely no record of that. There's a lot of records, there's a lot of emails with his name on it where he knows about this torture program. There are no emails where he objects to it, right? No records. But you claim that, and afterwards you came out and said, oh, I'd like to work for Democrats, so yeah, I'll pretend to be against torture, right? So are you against torture? Do you believe waterboarding is torture? Great, well, you're going to give me a clear answer on that, right?
The term torture has a lot of legal and political implications. It is something that should have been banned long ago. It never should have taken place, in my view. And therefore, if I were to go to CIA, it would never, in fact, be brought back.
Do you have a personal opinion as to whether waterboarding is torture?
I have a personal opinion that waterboarding is reprehensible and it's something that should not be done. And again, I am not a lawyer, Senator, and I can't address that question.
In other words, he will not address that question. He will evade it. He won't even say waterboarding is torture. Oh, I'm not a lawyer. Damn it, Jim. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a torturer. Okay, now the reality is later in the hearings, when asked about, hey, shouldn't you go to a court when you're deciding to execute U.S. citizens? He says, oh, no, I'm positive. My legal opinion is we don't need to go to court. Wait, I thought you weren't a lawyer. How would you know whether you should go to court or not? All of a sudden, you're absolutely sure about that, though. Interesting. Now, so let's go back to drone strikes. Senator Wyden's going to ask about it. Let's go to video 15 here.
If the executive branch makes a mistake and kills the wrong person or a group of the wrong people, how should the government acknowledge that?
There are certain circumstances where there are considerations to be taken into account. But as far as I'm concerned, if there is this type of action that takes place in the interest of transparency, I believe the United States government should acknowledge it.
And how many times have you acknowledged it? You want to get a load of how little he acknowledges it? This is awesome. Back in 2011, this is the quote John Brennan gave. There hasn't been a single collateral death because of the exceptional proficiency, precision of the capabilities that we've been able to develop. Not a single civilian casualty. I mean, you want to talk about a bold-faced lie? Now, here's the thing. On TV, no one will call John Brennan a liar. I mean, that's verboten. That's very Rive Gauche, please. I mean, we're all friends here. We all go to the same cocktail circus. I mean, I can't. That would be very anti-establishment to call this man a liar. Who are you kidding? This is the guy who does the dirty work. He's going to be the head of the CIA. He's going to fly by here. Oh, tough questioning. He's under fire. Oh, go. He's going to get confirmed easily, okay? Is he a liar? Of course he's a liar. Not a single civilian casualty, he says, when independent journalists can show you hundreds of civilian casualties. In fact, that was such a grotesque lie, he had to confess to it. He then later changed his testimony and said, quote, according to the Huffington Post, he acknowledged instances when regrettably and despite our best efforts, civilians have been killed. But he added, quote, it is exceedingly rare and much rarer than many allege. Of course. And one more lie for you. He also said, while the CIA needs to maintain a paramilitary capability, the CIA should not be used, in my view, to carry out traditional military activities. I'm amused by that lie. God, the rest of the press just eats this up like, oh, well, okay, well, he said that CIA won't be doing anything military. He just told you that he's doing a whole paramilitary operation within the CIA. Just because he put the word or the phrase para before military doesn't mean that they don't have guns and that they won't be going on missions and shooting people. Paramilitary. The only reason he can't call it military is because it's not in the Defense Department. It's under the CIA. And it would be illegal for it to be a separate military under the CIA. So we call it paramilitary. And then you go, oh, John Brennan, wonderful. See, he said he wouldn't do a military in the CIA. And he also assured the senators, you know what? I will be reporting to you with great transparency. Okay, let me give you a sense of the great transparency Brennan and Obama have done so far on this issue. When you ask them, can you give us just not your evidence on why you killed these people, but your evidence, but your legal memo on why you have the right to kill those people? Up until today, they had never released that. They did a leak to the NBC just a couple of days ago on a white paper that's a photocopy of some of the things that were justified. Today, they finally release it to U.S. Congress. And they say, you can't even show your staff, you can't even show your lawyers. Only the senators can look at it and then we take it away. First of all, they're our representatives. I don't love them, but they're our representatives. Should you show it to Congress? Of course! Now, your legal reason for why you're allowed to execute U.S. citizens, okay? But get a load of this. If you go to court, they say it is a state secret on whether we even have that memo or not. Not you can't see the memo, you can't know whether we even have that memo. And then this guy promises that he'll be transparent with Congress. Which moron would believe that? Well, probably most of the morons in the Senate. He will be confirmed.